What's up, buddies? My name's Mypowerbob, and welcome back to yet another episode of World Building. And in tonight's episode, we are going to do Dwarf Fortress. No, not that one. I'm talking about this one. No, wait. That's not a fortress? Well, I'm not talking about that one. That's just a regular nether fortress. It seems I have to build my own nether dwarf fortress. And that's the goal for today's episode. Or tonight's episode, as I said earlier. You see, I'm not happy with this. Like, at all. It's this marble carved vacation home looking thing with a weird basement down here. It's a house, essentially. Like, you go up these makeshift stairs, you enter this door, and you're in a house with a portal. There is a complete disconnect here from what's on the other side, from the main dwarf kingdom. Of course, I like this place, I like the way I built it, but it's not correct. So, the goal of today's episode is to make this side of the portal connect, make it like the mirror of this side of the portal. At the very least, I have decorated this side, but also it's like it's the portal that the dwarves use to go to the nether. But first off, if I'm going to make like a giant dwarf nether fortress, I have to adjust this side of the portal. At least I need to make like a staircase up to it, you know? And then maybe, you know, some walls, some guards and stuff. Maybe like make this portal like a little bigger, maybe a little taller, make it feel more like a big thing. So to start off this video, wow, okay, well, that was a horrible place to go. I can't even see the portal. So to start off this video, I did it again. So to start off this video, we're going to have a little time lapse right here. I want to talk about something, a topic. I brought a topic with me today. It's like a school presentation, because I have this thing, the Middle Earth 30 disc 4K remastered edition, where 9 of the discs are the 6 movies, and the other 21 discs are all of the bonus material, the behind the scenes stuff and making off, you know? And as I was designing the nether fortress that you'll soon be seeing, I watched through all of these videos, and it was really insightful. And of course, I've seen some of them before, but, you know, watching them as I'm trying to go through my own process of design really helped me in a way. Because these behind the scenes videos are amazing. Honestly, I believe these could be more important to filmmakers than the movies themselves. They go so in depth of their process, of their decisions, their whys, and what they do, and it's just really helpful for filmmakers. But not only that, there's also a lot to learn from them for world building, and thus, of course, stuff that can be applied to Minecraft, to the building stuff. And so I just want to talk a little bit about, you know, immersion and context, sort of, for the world one would be designing. So for example, these stairs that I made up to the nether portal, originally they were a lot more ruined than what they ended up being. Because when you're designing something with medieval fantasy in mind, you kind of associate that with just ruins. It feels more old, you know, to have a lot of cracked stone. But you gotta think about the context of the thing you're building. What is it used for? And so these stairs are, of course, leading up to the nether portal. They're very important for the kingdom. There is a lot of guards around there, you know, keeping a watch out for whatever could come through the portal and stuff. And so these stairs are very often used. And thus, they have to be at least somewhat taken care of. They can't be that ruined. And the documentaries go a lot into this. There's a lot of focus of the set designers, you know, and how they built all of the different places like Helm's Deep, for example, and what the exact right amount of age to apply to the structure was. And, you know, it just helped me get into the headspace of what do I actually want my buildings to convey, you know, to tell the viewer. The bigger picture here, funnily enough, is the small details in this. Getting the age right is important, because that really helps with the immersion for the viewer. And if there's one thing we can take away from the Lord of the Rings movies, is that small things have huge impact. And so getting this right from the get-go is very important, and something I'm going to focus a lot more on and be a lot more aware of. Because, of course, I could fix something later on. There's stuff already that I built that I'm going to change because I'm not happy with them anymore. But, you know, it's better to get it right from the first try, you know, to spend a little bit more time on stuff so that you are actually happy with the end result. And, you know, this is nothing new. It's stuff I, you know, sort of knew already, had thought about. But the documentaries really helped, you know, me to focus on it, you know, to keep it in mind more prominently as I was designing. But for now, talking and making paths is odd for me. Yeah, I'm really not that good at multitasking, so I think I'm just going to cut to the finished path. Alright, the road is looking finished. Try to match it up as close as I could to the old road I made here. And it's looking pretty good, and my house is finally connected to the kingdom. Now, there is still one thing that is missing here. Yes, I believe I did mention something about some guards staying here. But there are no guards here, and well, I don't have the materials for them yet. And you may ask, what materials are those? Well, they're trims. You know, the decorative things you put on armor. And I am missing a few from my collection. Namely, the hardest ones to get, which are from the ancient city, from the stronghold, and from the end cities. Places I have been, but that was before trims were introduced. So, I have to find a new ancient city, I have to find a new stronghold, and I have to go out and find new end cities. So, I got quite the adventure ahead of me right now, before we can continue. I'm gonna try and find an ancient city, that's always fun. And find an ancient city I did! On stream. Yes, on twitch.tv/Mypowerbob I streamed my attempts of getting the trims, and I got 2 out of 3 on stream, and then the last one later on. So go and follow me there to catch more streams that are happening in this world. And if you're interested in watching the VOD for that stream, then it's over on the YouTube channel Mypowerbob. Get it? You get it. Yeah, it was a very chill stream, and we had such thought-provoking conversations, such as, I never had a police officer, you know, straight up tell me murder is bad, so is it actually illegal? I've never seen a source on it. I've just, you know, gone by word of mouth. Yes, but what do the trims look like, you may ask? Look like a loading world, apparently. If you take a look over here, I think this dwarf is the best one to show it off on. So the chestplate, the leggings, and the shoes are the 3 trims I got this time. And I made them out of lapis, which is of course the dwarven colors, the dwarven blue. And the helmet, well, that's part of the head skin, of course. And so yeah, this guard is, you know, he's bored, he's pacing back and forth, his shield is laying down here, nothing much happening right now. Then we have a guard over here, older gentleman looking out over the horizon. Then we got a woman over there looking out, and we got a woman down there coming up the stairs, and then there is a man over there walking away. His shift is probably over. And for once I gave them shields as well, and I put the flag on the shield. Back to trims, because there is something special to mention about it, and that is the helmet. The helmet design is the spire design, which you can get from trial chambers. But I don't have trial chambers in my world. I'm still waiting for Create to update on Fabric, So I'm still on 1.20. So while I can get this design on, you know, custom heads, I can't actually get it in the game. That's just a fun fact. It's going to become relevant again later on. But another point I wanted to mention about trims is that, well, I keep mentioning how they are so extremely expensive, because, you know, they are. So I installed a mod which greatly reduced the price to a single diamond instead of 7, which I think is more than fair. And now that I mentioned mods, it's time to mention resource packs. Yes, because it's time to talk about my custom resource pack, Mypowerbob's Fantasy Villagers. And if my videos are the only place where you actually see the updates to the pack, then I have a bit to tell you about. Because between the last and this episode, there have been 2 big updates. The first was the Villagers Under the Mountain, where I finished all the job skins and biome skins for the dwarves, as well as giving them more hairstyles and tweaking a few of the skins. Yes, as you can see here, some of the dwarves have long hair on the back, and the female dwarves also have a bit more facial hair. They got some sideburns. And there's even a very slight chance that the dwarf may be blind on either eye. And then the second big update was the Villagers of the World... No, it's the Worldwide Villagers, that's the name I gave it. Where I gave all the fantasy races more skin colors. There are now 5 different skin tones available. And with the same update, I also revamped the trigger names. So, you could choose between having your fantasy village be a specific skin color, or you could choose to have them randomly select through all the skin colors. And a funny thing with that is that it means that this elf over here became, you know, darker skinned, because this guy's trigger name was just elf. So they pulled from all of the available skins, made him dark skinned, which, you know, is I'm pretty happy about, because this place is sort of a showcase of this resource pack. So, you know, showing off that they are indeed different skin colors to all the races. Yeah, I also managed to remove the required underscore and replace it with a regular space, so that the trigger names look a bit more natural. Of course, if you're more interested in every update and everything that's in an update, you can always check out either my Blue Sky account or the resource pack itself on both CurseForge and Modrinth, where it also is now. In the description of each new version I'm posting, I write a detailed patch notes so that you know exactly what's new. Now, the pack is far from finished. After all, I still got gnomes, elves, orcs and goblins to customize. So let's move on to what I'm doing next. So that was your regularly scheduled updates regarding Mypowerbob's Fantasy Villagers. You are distracting me. You are very annoying. Die. Thank you. That was a very good shot, actually. So yeah, I think I'm done with what I wanted to do here in the overworld for now. So I think it's time to go spend some time in the Nether. So, it is finally time for the main event of the episode. It's time to build the Nether Fortress. And I have done a lot to prepare for this beforehand. I upgraded my gold farm to an automatic one, which included an autocrafter, which technically isn't available to me yet because I'm still on 1.20, so I had to install a backported mod with the autocrafter to get that going. But I needed it because piglin bartering is the best way to get a lot of the stuff I need for the build, like blackstone and nether bricks. And then I also went ahead and made a froglight farm, finally. I've had those tadpoles in a bucket, like, forever, and I finally got to use them. So that's cool, that's a quick fire update. But, you know, before I want to tear all of this down and use my excavation pepper to just blow out this area to get a clean slate to work on, I gotta move this, guys. I want to keep them, you know? After all, they are the Teenage Mutant Piglin Traders.
Teenage Mutant Piglin Traders!
And so, I think I'm just going to take this one at a time. Ah, easy. Okay, no problem. No. No. Where? Ah. Building a bridge has never been this hard. Oh, actually, yeah, help me mine this out. No, don't. So yeah, this Nether fortress, it's going to be really big. It's going to be a complete Nether fortress, and it really took me a long time to design it. I probably should have, broken up into smaller parts, like I'm doing with the regular kingdom. But then again, I didn't want to spend too much time on it. I didn't even intend for this episode to be about the Nether fortress originally. I actually started to work on something else, but then I realized the lore for that other thing would make much more sense if I built this Nether fortress first. You are not mad at me? No? Let's go on a trip. Okay, we're off. I don't remember which one you are. You're one of them. So yeah, this is going to take a moment. I'll be right back. Row, row, row your boat gently on the ground. Scrapity, 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 scrapity. The boat is on the ground. That wasn't even a joke. That was like, I genuinely couldn't come up with a rhyme. I wanted to refer to the underside of the boat getting damaged, but I couldn't think of anything. And there we go. You're all together, like some sort of high school musical. So we can just wait there for a moment while I prepare this place. So I have gone and grabbed some excavation pepper so that I can dig out this area here in front of me. Let's hope there isn't some weird, like nether-based interaction with the pepper, like how beds explode, Let's hope this just works as it always has, as regular pepper, as it's supposed to. I am kind of going to miss the vacation home, but I could always rebuild it somewhere else, For now, I think I'm going to place myself right about here, and yeah, let's see where this goes. That was a bit more fiery than usual. But then again, I guess that's what you get in the Nether. But it worked, didn't it? Just like the pepper is supposed to. And yeah, it really... it's like a nuke went off here. And yeah, it even took out part of the old Nether fortress here, but I can work with that. That makes sense. I mean, I can imagine that's like some old Dwarven Nether fortress before they built the current one that, I don't know, maybe it was destroyed in a Gold Wars or something. And even my portal is just hanging on tight, secure as ever. And it built me a bridge up to my farms on the Nether roof. Very handy. I guess that's going to be a problem, isn't it? There's... oh, okay, yeah. And not only blazes, but there's a lot of space for ghasts to spawn here. I am possibly going to have a really bad time building this. Maybe. But, that's why I have fire protection. Surely it won't get annoying. Oh, no. No. No, are you kidding me? You killed one of them! You killed one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Piglins! The Teenage Piglin Mutant Traders! The boys! You killed one of the boys!
What have I done?
So, let's just try to build this thing. Standing on top of 4 mountain-sized pillars is a literal fortress built out of impenetrable blackstone. Heavily guarded by dwarves, looking out for gas and their bitter enemies, the piglins. A hub for travel, for exploration, and for mining the dimension's unique resources. With its signature giant glowing stone, this is Irdlan Forskning. So, tell me, did you notice anything peculiar about that time-lapse? Maybe you noticed that I missed a few blocks in a wall here, or maybe you noticed that the armor stance didn't render properly sometimes. Or maybe you noticed that I was absolutely bombarded by blaze! I'm completely charred. Yeah, it turns out that building this over an actual nether fortress wasn't as good of an idea as I thought it would be. Because fun fact, since there's a lot of natural light in the nether, mobs in the nether would of course need a little bit higher light level to be allowed to still spawn. So most of the mobs in nether spawn in almost all kinds of light. And blazes specifically have one of the highest spawn light thresholds at 11. That's a lot. So I have to make an executive decision here, because there is a thing I can do. Well, there's 2 things I can do. Of course, I could spam torches everywhere, but of course I'm not going to do that. Looks horrible. No, the other thing I'm going to do is spam light everywhere. But how is that different from what I just said I wouldn't do? There are a few items in the game that you can't even see in the creative menu. The command block is one of them, but another of them is the light, which looks like this. And when you place it, it gives off a light. And you can't see it at all. There's no block there it belongs to, and you can walk right through it. In fact, when you don't hold the item, you can't see it. But there it is. You can see I can see the hitbox, but oh. Wait, do I? Hold on. I'm going to cheat here. I'm going to be transparently cheating. Okay, so you have to be in creative mode to actually see the texture of where you planted a light. That is interesting. So yeah, I'm going to spam this light block here everywhere within the fortress to prevent blazes and the like from spawning. Yes, well, I do need to cheat to get it. I think it is justified, considering this is supposed to be a fortress that's defended against exactly these kinds of monsters. So, for the sake of the immersion and the lore, I'm allowing myself to do this. Now, what I'm going to use to help me in lighting up everything is Mini-HUD, which shows me the light levels. Oh, look at that, there is a blaze here already. Perfect. Perfect. One of the most used features of this mod is allowing me to see the light level to see if mobs can spawn somewhere. And by going into the settings and just tweaking the threshold here up to 12, you can see blazes can spawn more or less everywhere. So yeah, I gotta go and place down, I don't know, 1 million of these, and then I'll give you a bit more of a tour. Alright, the deed is now done, everything is lit up, and yeah, that took a lot of lights, as you can see, and I might have died in the process as well. But this place should now be safe. I just want to show you what it looks like. If I go into creative mode, give myself a light, you can see they're popping in. I more or less had to place a light on every other block for this to work, but it's working. There are, of course, pockets within the walls where I didn't light up, so there's probably going to be a lot of mobs spawning there. Where did you come from? Oh man, are you kidding me? Oh! Oh no. Oh, what? Hold on. Wait, do you have a higher spawn level than 11? So yeah, the chart thing I showed you earlier, I didn't notice it, but there aren't any magma cubes on that list, because apparently they can spawn in all light levels, even 15, the highest one. So I guess this is now Magma Cube Central. And then still, there's going to be blazes in the walls that are going to make a lot of ghastly sounds. So I was going to justify that by saying it's medieval fantasy. There's going to be, you know, rats in the building. But these are an infestation. So if there is a method for me to prevent spawning here without having lights, and of course without placing, you know, buttons or stuff that prevent spawning vanilla style, then, you know, I would be all for that. But let's set that aside and take a look at what we have here. So I placed a lot more armor stands around. You see we got guards here patrolling, we got some mining crew loading off blackstone into the storage below. We got a delivery guy who dropped off some food and drinks for the people heading back home, and some casual dwarves. And a little fun fact about the dwarf heads I used here, as well as the colors of the casual dwarf clothes. They were all selected randomly. Yes, I dug out my old D&D dice and started to roll for cloth color and head gender and hair color. And thus, all the heads were randomly selected. And because of that, I do believe there might be more female heads here in the fortress than male ones. And then, over here, by the entry gates, I have maybe my favorite little armor stand display, which is this here guy, who's a commander of the guards. You can see that by his golden chestplate, walking over to probably scold these guys for slacking off on their guard duties and playing a board game, the dwarf game, as I've so nicknamed it, which is based on a real game called the Viking game. It's sort of like it's like an alternative chess, to put it very simply. But yeah, this is the dwarf variation they're playing here. I made a map art of the board as closely resembling the real Viking game board, but, you know, with a few dwarven tweaks like the goats here. And all of their board game pieces scattered everywhere. These guys, they really do deserve scolding. But yeah, these are the jail cells, where I got the 3 remaining Teenage Mutant Piglin traders. The outside here is pretty interesting. You maybe noticed and scratched your head about me putting orange glass around some of the pillars here and the old Nether Fortress towers. And that is because I wanted to create sort of mirage image. You know, when heat creates these waves in the air that sort of makes the background wobbly. It doesn't look as good when you zoom in on it, but it's not supposed to work like that. It's a distant view, you know? When you look at it like this, it does something. You feel there is some kind of effect going around there. And it's not exactly perfect, but I think it still works. And then the outside of the fortress itself here, it was, first and foremost, it's based on like an oil platform, you know, with its huge pillars supporting this giant, colossal structure. And then the structure itself as well is, well, you know how Dwarven aesthetic is primarily inspired by Art Deco? Well, I wanted this place to be more brutalist, you know, to be just giant flat walls that are, like, honestly a bit intimidating to look at. And I think I figured that out. I think I got it. Oh dear. Then we have these rooms, which I didn't show off at all, which are the crew quarters, with 4 beds, personal chests, a little bit of water, which is, I feel like that would be required by law to have available water in the Nether. And it's just a place to rest, really. And they're all identical. Almost. I forgot to put pillows in here. And then up here on the 3rd floor there are just more crew quarters of mostly the same design. And they're back. Maybe I should have some free roaming frogs going around. And then over here we got the statue of the World Crafter doing some smithing. We got the armory with the guards' weapons and shields and all of their armor. And I mentioned earlier how one of the trims weren't available to me, and this is the result of that. The naked helmets. But just pretend they have the goat-like trims on them. And then on this side we have the smithery, where they take care of all of the broken armors and weapons. And because dwarves are extra, they are of course using lava as their source of heat to smelt down the metals. Over here we have the cafeteria and the hospital, clinic, emergency room. I don't know what a medieval fancy term for that would be. I've complete brain fog on that. But yeah, we got a few casual dwarves just hanging out, drinking, eating. We got a selection here of all of the different brands of mead, which of course the Dwarven are producing themselves, the Honeybeard brand of meads. And I built this to resemble a soda fountain. And looms apparently make really good like grates for catching liquid, you know, that spills. Ketchup, mustard, really diving into the fast food restaurant aesthetic for this. And here we have the counter, the kitchen with the different workers. We got different meats here cooking. This guy's not paying attention, he's going to burn the chicken, you idiot! Here we got a huge pot of very hot soup. Yeah, I imagine dwarves are big soup lovers. I can relate, I love me a good soup.
Soup! Soup!
Lots of storage for food, water to wash dishes, and a lot more storage in here. And a delivery guy, a cart for delivering all of that stuff. Which the pigs out here are the delivery pigs, you know. Hello. And then at the hospital, clinic, emergency room, we have a waiting room out here. We have the doctor's office in here with 2 clerics, and there's supposed to be snow here, but this is like a surgery table. Books, potions, and healing crystals, because it's fantasy. Of course there would be healing crystals, and who else would be more into that than the gem-loving dwarves? Then in here we got potion ingredients, netherwarts growing, and at the end we have lots of beds for sick and injured dwarves to rest. Like this guy, who maybe has a headache or something. And again, crystals everywhere to promote healing. And then in the last wing here we have another mining cart, which is now emptied out, and the guy is driving it over to this cart garage place where also all of the pigs live. And we got 2 pig workers here, the guys in jumpsuits, who are taking care of the pigs. And I guess using pigs to pull your cart also works as a sort of intimidation tactic towards piglins, which of course the dwarves would be very much for. Then we got this big mysterious thing, which is a lever. It's connected to these chains here going up into the ceiling, which then come down again to hold this gate, or cage as it sort of is. The idea being that if this place is ever invaded by piglins, they can pull the lever, and the cage will slam down and prevent them from accessing the portal. And it's sort of the same idea, as well as the sign, as the regular gate that is used in the overworld kingdom. And speaking of that type of gate, up here on the other side of the main gate is the back door. If they were invaded and the portal is unusable, they gotta have an escape plan, you know, another direction to head in. So this little back door is for that, and also for me if I want to go that way. It's a smaller place with a regular wooden door, and then the very type of gate that I'm using in the overworld, with the same type of system where you pull the gate out in front of the doorway, slide 2 big logs through it to, you know, lock it in place, and yeah, it's probably relatively impenetrable. A piglin head for intimidation, again, did place those in front of the main gate as well, and 2 guards, making sure there's nobody attacking from this side, like this guy. Hey, you can't go in here. You know the password? No, that's wrong. You have to go. But then I saved this for last. And by saving that for last, I mean I'm going to walk straight through it. Because this is a mining center. So at the end here we have a locker room for all of the miners, with a guy putting on his shoes and a woman putting away her helmet. Very simple. And then down the stairs here, excuse me, we have the material storage. And it's infested by rats. Netherrack, blackstone, basalt, warped wood, gold, and quartz. All of the stuff the dwarves would, of course, be mining in this dimension. And here we have the elevator coming down, which is connected to the main hall here. And these two dwarves who are manually pulling the elevator down. And of course, as always, I like to take inspiration from modern things, but this time it was an accident. This place sort of looks like a parking garage. But accident or not, I welcome it. And then we got the pipe here, which is leading down into the basement, where we got a pump. The same kind of pump that is in the overworld kingdom, pumping up the lava for the bucket in the central room of the kingdom. And I haven't placed anything in the hoppers here, so let me just do that. This is how it's supposed to work, but you know, it's a audio hazard, so I'm fine with just turning it off. But yeah, this is where the lava is pumped up from the... I was about to say the ocean floor. It's not the ocean floor, it's the lava floor. And that is where the lava comes from that's used in the smithery, as well as the dwarven faces on the outer walls that are spewing lava down. But then, this, the final room. The room I avoided. The room I saved for last. These two chunks of cobblestones are not supposed to be visible. No. I have installed yet another new mod. Many episodes back, I had a mod which allowed me to make custom paintings, and I used them to make wanted posters for my missing LAs. And then that mod stopped updating, so I stopped using it. And then, when Builder's Vision started, I was made aware of another mod which did the same thing, called Immersive Paintings. And so I installed this mod here to heighten the immersion, sort of. So this is a guard commander, as well as the mining center chief. And they are looking at a giant map of the area. You can see we got the Nether Fortress here in the center. Oh wait, I forgot to update the name of the place to the Erdlandforskning. Anyway, this is a map of the local area. Yeah, there's nothing much on it right now, but I'm going to update this later on when there's going to be more structures in the Nether. But the way more important piece is what's going to go here. But before I'm going to show you that, I have to tell you some lore.
There are few who know the tales of this world. I am one of those few, and I am here to tell them. If you travel off the beaten path and into the wild, you might come upon a crumbling monolith. These odd ruins predate recorded history. There is no trace of what culture or species that built them, if they were built in this world at all. Long, they have been worshipped by religious groups known as cults of obsidian, and it was indeed worship that revealed the ruins' true purpose. Stories tell of a ritual candle lit within a perfectly preserved monolith. Quickly, the candle flame flared up to fill the structure. The very air pulled in towards the flame as it turned purple and began swirling. Naturally, those who were present ran away in fear, and they were smart to do so. It didn't take long before creatures started to walk out through the doorway. Quickly, the tales of this event spread. Elves banned all interaction with the portal. Gnomes started studying them. Goblins, reckless as they are, dove in head first. But the biggest question for the dwarves related to this new dimension's natural resources. Would it contain the same metals and gemstones as a regular world? Or would it present a completely new resource for the dwarves to benefit from? The goblin tales of engulfing fire and relentless pigmen scared most of those who heard. But a dwarf by the name of Helv bravely led a small group of scouts into the other world, nonetheless. In this dimension, they found an abundance of gold, quartz, and a reddish stone perfect for use in construction. Over time, this little camp grew larger, safer, and more structured. until one day it had become the fortress hub it is known as today. Health helped the world study and discover what this new dimension was capable of. And ever since, people all over the world grew to know the name Hellfire Dwarf. The establishing of another base rewarded many benefits for the dwarves. Come again next time to hear me tell yet another tale of the dwarves' nether yield.
Yes, indeed, there is history to this place. And to commemorate that history, the dwarves has put up a very specific painting. There. Look at that. This is my magnum opus of Hellfire Dwarf fighting against a horde of piglins to honor their hero, the first dwarf to actually sort of live and thrive in the Nether, to figure it out, sort of. It's a bit weird to see in-game, so I'm just going to pull up the full art on screen now. And of course you can always find my art on my Blue Sky account. And yeah, this really took a long time. I think it's the longest time I've ever spent drawing anything. So I'm really proud of myself for this. So yeah, that is my Dwarven Nether fortress, and now I don't have to feel weird every time I go to the Nether and, you know, lose my immersion. But yeah, it is finally done. I can finally rest and be happy that I have such a huge build. That's insane. I don't want to build something this big for a single video in a long time again. Now, there is one more thing I didn't show you here, which is at the end of this jail cell. This room. But you're going to have to wait for that, because that's related to the next episode. So, if you want to see that episode when I eventually make it, hit that subscribe button, and while you're down there, leave me a comment telling me your favorite way to kill a magma cube. And other than that, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you do come again next time. I hope you be as ecstatic as this guy is for watching my next video. And you're looking very lovely today. So thank you and goodbye.